First of all, thank you, Upstart, Jason, everybody for bringing me in. My name is Jarno Eerola, and I'm currently based in Berlin. And let's go through the topic. So bouncing back from Startup Meltdowns. So my background briefly is that the last 20 years, I've been in various startups. So 2000, I started my first startup, and pretty much after since I've been in and out of startup world, and I can say that I have quite good experience of the roller coaster ride that comes in different times and seasons. But and as you can see, I have no presentation, no slides, just me. And yeah, so going down is, of course, today especially is very much on the table or under the table. During the pandemic and even without pandemic, it's extremely hard to get startups flying. Even it sometimes seems very, very easy, but it isn't. And anyway, this session is more about the meltdowns, and not specifically for startups. It can be enterprise meltdown, or it just can be a personal meltdown. And I will try to share some of my experiences in that, and of course the how to bounce back. So of course, being here live, presenting to all of you is already a sign that the bouncing back has happened. But let's go straight in. We don't have so much time. Of course, we can talk, and I'm more than happy to talk with you guys later in email or chat or telephone or here in Berlin. If you have experienced or feel that you are experiencing meltdown, please call me, and don't stay alone with me. Anyway, so I think my meltdown happened a couple of years ago. I was running a company called Aito, which is basically was a startup that wanted to turn everything into music using the smartphone sensors and create live music on the go. And it was very interesting experience. I started it already 2010 and creating music with artificial intelligence. I was making installations around the world because I'm also a DJ and a musician. And then some investors got really excited about it. And before that, I was doing it in a computer environment. And then they were like, we have to get this on mobile phone and give it to the world. And yes, we did it. But the music industry is almost as challenging as startup industry. So eventually, and after maybe 2.5 years, I was making a funding round, and we already got one investor sending money. But during the funding round, which was pretty hard at the time, well, always it is, but anyway, we couldn't finalize the funding in time. So suddenly I was left in darkness, emptiness, and about feelings. So first of all, so of course, it's kind of like feeling like similar that you lose someone or lose a bunch of things. So of course, my team was from the beginning since 2015, it was remote first. So I had people in Finland, people here in Germany. We were always working online. But when this catastrophe happened, everything disappeared. and I became transparent. At least I felt like it. So people stopped calling, people stopped writing, and it's kind of like you, at the same time, you lose your family, you lose your job, you lose your future, because it was everything for me. It was my passion project, it was my baby that I really, really wanted to succeed. And as investors and accelerators like to say to startups that, hey, you have to put all your energy into your startup, it's everything for you. And of course, founders are like, yes, yes, you are day and night, just live and eat your startup. And suddenly when everything is wiped off, you are like, hey, what next? So the silence came, and of course, number of things starting from depression and things like that. But it's pretty typical, you know, situation. But it's not something that you need to live with or you need to stay alone with. And I started to figure out what to do next. Like, how can I get out from this? How can I bounce back? And of course, I was really, really tired. 2.5 years fighting this startup fight. You are really out of energy, out of money, out of everything. Thank God I have a beautiful family that stand by me. I started to go out into the nature. I started to exercise, which is one thing. You need to go out. You need to stay connected with your friends, with your family, which you probably didn't have so much time when you were running your startup. And there I learned, we have a really nice park here close by. I was spending a lot of time there because one of my dogs had a cancer. So at one point I was going, this one actually, Chicho. I was going there at 15 times per day. So I spent a lot of time in the park because I just had to go there. And I started to figure out things like, you know, how can I be more connected with the nature? How can I bring all of this calmness and happiness that nature and animals can bring? How can I bring this into startup life? So, and I was at the same time looking ways to make money. I was helping other startups, of course. I was working with one VC fund. So I was doing projects here and there, just trying to help people out. But in the moment, nothing long term, impossible to kind of, you know, see beyond things. So that was about 6 months. But I think that the most helpful of these times were that I was talking with a lot of people. In Berlin, you have a lot of artists, you have musicians, you have painters and developers, all kind of people who also work with startups or companies. But anyway, if you look at for example, artists, they are kind of like, scaling is very popular in startup thing, but we always think that we are scaling up. But if you scale down from startup, like 5 people team, you have an artist, which is 1-person team who actually does everything the same. Raising funds, going on road shows, to conferences, trying to get awareness to their talent, to their art. So I could kind of like see a miniature startups going around, and they had exactly the same problems that startup founders have. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of insecurity, and the funds are definitely much smaller. We are talking about 200, 2,000 if you are super lucky. From there, I started to kind of see different ways of bringing all of this experience and helping those guys, helping everybody. And I started to write a book, Henry von Blockhart's A Journey You Can't Escape, which is actually my current startup that I am working in a kind of bootstrap stealth mode. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about my new startup. I'm talking about how you can bounce back. So I started to write a book. I'm still writing things. painting. One artist contacted me if I can make cover art for their music. So I was, yes, of course. I never did album art before, but I was a photographer. I'm still a photographer. So I was, why all of these experiences where you can create something and you deliver it to somebody and they are happy, even if it's for 20 euros. You get the feeling, you get the same satisfaction that you would get from a funding round. You delivered, everybody's happy, the customer happiness, what is important for a startup founder. You start to believe again in yourself, you see that they come back for more, and from very small things, you start to build back your confidence, and eventually you are ready to go back out there. And again, if you have any questions, we have still some time, so throw in some questions or talk to me later. But yeah, so another thing that is really important is that you have the daily routines. You don't have much time if you are super focused in startup world, but if you have a daily routine, for example, exercise, going out, cooking, being with friends, something that is not related to your startup world, those are extremely important to have and to keep, because friends are important, family is important, and your hobbies are important. And then sooner or later, you will definitely find a new direction. At the moment, I didn't know where to go. Of course, like, it was not my first Meltdown or my first startup. I've been in, I don't know, 5, 6 different startups, which I started 3 myself. So it's not like, a new thing, but Meltdown is a meltdown. And somehow we have to now start being more open about it. It's not an illness, it's just thing that happen. You fall down, but you have to get up. And if you are open about it with your friends, with your investors, with your colleagues, then it's much more easier to stay open about it, be really transparent of how you feel today, if you have some challenges, and then the whole startup culture will change and it will be more friendly around you. And for example, I have high sort of a stress in public performance or speaker things in conferences, but I still go out there because startups need this kind of things. But I usually go there with music or some sort of, technological wonder, because that helps me to be more active. I can play something at the same time. And of course, I want the presentation to be entertaining, not like a circus, but something that is fun and brings out the things that I like to bring out and interact with people and give sort of, friendly hello. And then from there, it's easy to go forward and continue. So I think we have 1 minute left. So if anyone is there, please say hello or ask questions, or we can start hugging and say bye-bye. But yeah, so what I'm doing now is working with autonomous, decentralized organizations, so which is basically if you put deep tech or AI into a fish tank and like a miniature startup ecosystem, because my experience in startup journeys, what most people can share, that it's long, heavy, from the first idea to the first check can take 9 months, 2 years, 10 years, and I'm trying to shorten this into few seconds. But it's not ready yet, it's coming soon, and hopefully we can talk about it soon, but that's something that I hope that will bring the future founders something more usable, because today again is too much noise out there. It's difficult to see that, hey, you go to a conference, you see 100 startups that sound like the same, but they are not the same. So again, the faster you go out there, the faster you can pitch something simple and show some hard data that it functions, show a prototype. Then the faster you get feedback and the faster you can learn and develop the startup and attract the investors. So I hope you enjoyed my Meltdown session, and I hope that you don't have to experience that, but if you do, please call me, and I hope that we can bounce back soon. So that was my story, and I wish you very, very nice day. Greetings from sunny Berlin, and enjoy the day, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.